It's a crime right out of the Old West, and the culprit is a top lawman.
So why would a New Mexico sheriff knowingly break the law? News 13's Gabrielle Burkhart shows you on special assignment.
Oh, I'm sure there would have been a shooting over that.
I think it's egregious.
Should he as a sheriff know better?
It's a cardinal sin in cattle country, and the top lawman in New Mexico's smallest county is the culprit. Hardin County Sheriff Raymond Gutierrez, a man elected to uphold the law, is also convicted of a crime, and it's one that's plagued ranchers in New Mexico for more than a century.
It was malicious.
Roderick Lujan has a state land lease right next to Sheriff Gutierrez's property in neighboring San Miguel County. After Lujan put up a brand new barbed wire fence in 2015, he was shocked to see what the sheriff did to it.
Mr. Gutierrez cut my fence post to fence post.
The sheriff's cattle were found grazing on Lujan's land.
And they were eating your grass.
Right.
What's more concerning, Lujan says, is less than 100 yards from where the sheriff cut the fence, the sheriff could have used this gate, which was left unlocked.
He didn't need to cut the fence, and he did so in such a manner that it couldn't be easily repaired.
Cutting or injuring a fence in the ranching community is a big no-no, a crime punishable by law. The New Mexico Livestock Board launched an investigation, and according to its report, Sheriff Gutierrez confessed, claiming he was landlocked out of another piece of his property. The sheriff was found guilty of injuring fence and livestock trespassing. His punishment, a year of probation and $1,600 in fines.
It's a big deal because this grass is my livelihood.
Brian Green is a rancher in southern Torrance County. His fence wasn't cut, but he helped us put the case in perspective.
I'm not a particularly violent person, but I know a lot of my neighbors, if it were to happen to them, it might be shooting type in, response.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's that serious.
It's a crime right out of the Old West, when ranchers first started fencing.
A good part of our job is keeping fences up in shape.
There had been a series of almost wars over fencing.
Rick Hendricks is the state historian.
The individual who committed that crime is very fortunate that he's living now and not when he might have been 5 years in the penitentiary for it.
Fencing in New Mexico, he says, dates back to the 1800s, serving to protect land, cattle, and the state's livestock industry, an industry that's still alive and well. Though penalties have softened over time, cutting fence still carries a price, especially to a rancher's reputation.
Should he as a sheriff know better?
I'm sure he would know the law, and I would guess that he probably had to enforce it on many occasions as well.
We tried talking to Sheriff Gutierrez. He declined an interview, and he wasn't in when we paid his office in Hardin County a visit. Over the phone, Gutierrez told us he's appealing the case and suggested we call his lawyer.
This is Gabrielle Burkhart with KRQE Channel 13 in Albuquerque.
But she never got back to us. Today, despite a court order, Lujan says the sheriff still hasn't made things right.
Did he ever apologize to you?
No, he's never apologized.
The sheriff installed this makeshift fence after the livestock board inspector told him to.
But neighbors say it's not enough. Cattle continue to do damage, and the sheriff refuses to fix it.
It costs a lot of money to put up something like this. It speaks to his character.
Even though the sheriff isn't talking, the ranching community is.
Here's a guy who absolutely knows the law. He should know what the consequences are, and then he violates the public trust. He's been elected to uphold the law in his county. It just doesn't say very much for his personal integrity.
And that may carry more weight in the West than any misdemeanor. On special assignment, Gabrielle Burkhart, KRQE News 13.
Even though the sheriff claims he was landlocked, investigators say there is another road the sheriff could have used to get to his property instead of going through his neighbor's fence. You can read more about this case online. Just go to alwaysonkrqe.com.